A leading advocate for school choice in North Carolina has a new leader. Mike Long is now president of Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina, and he joins us to discuss his new role. Welcome to the job and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mitch. Glad to be here.
So we're going to get into PEFNC and some of the things that it's working on. But first of all, tell us a little bit about your background. I understand more than 3 decades in education.
Well, and I'm a born and bred Tar Heel. Born in Durham, North Carolina, raised in the public schools there. Went to UNC Chapel Hill. After that, went into teaching. 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher in the Durham public schools. Back in the mid-'80s, I developed a character education program that just blossomed all over the state and all over the country. So I traveled, I was training teachers, doing school assembly programs, working with school boards, curriculum, but about everything you can do in education. Did that for 25 years. Went into a principalship in a private school in Atlanta, and then came back to Charlotte at Carmel Christian School as head of school there. And then PEFNC gave a call and said, all those 30 years of experience in education might help us kind of take our organization to a whole new level because school choice is truly on a roll, and North Carolina is one of the leading advocates of it across the country.
So as you've described it, you've had a role in the public schools and in private schools. What is it about this school choice movement that tells you this is what I should be doing now?
My wife and I raised our 2 children in the Durham public school system in elementary school, and then we found that there were other needs in other areas that we felt they could benefit. We had the opportunity, we had the means to put our children in a private school that helped meet their educational needs, and they thrived. My goal, my heart now is for all North Carolina families to have that very same opportunity.
You mentioned that your previous job before this was working at a private school.
Yes.
In that role, did you work much with PEFNC? And if so, what was your impression of it?
Yes, we had students who came to our schools who were benefiting from the opportunity scholarships that are provided by the state of North Carolina. We had students who came to our schools because of scholarships from the children with learning disabilities, because we were able to meet those special needs of those children. And to see the faces of moms and dads coming in the door, seeing where here is an opportunity for our child to thrive, where in reality they weren't able to thrive because they were forced to go to a school because of a zip code they lived in. And so that to me was really special. It touched my heart to see those kids grow, graduate, go to college, the success that they had. The more I learned about PEFNC and what they do to help promote that throughout the state was just, like I said, very, very encouraging to me. And I jumped on the opportunity when it came to help lead that.
That is the voice of Mike Long. He is the president of PEFNC, which is Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina. So as you worked with PEFNC in your previous role, were there things that you said to yourself, hey, I wish this group would be able to tackle this too, and now you're going to have an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of our organization is our parent liaison program. We have parent liaisons in different areas of the state that are directing parents, first of all, how to apply for the scholarships, walk them through the scholarships, point them to the school that will best meet their need. We want to grow that. I would like to see a parent liaison in all 100 counties, each of our 100 counties throughout the state. The other thing I'd like to see us do moving forward is to create an opportunity to hold our schools accountable. And I don't mean just public schools. I also mean the private schools, the charter schools, home schools. How do we hold them accountable in their success or their failure, all the way across the board? I do want our families to understand we are not at all against traditional public schools. We are all for them, as a matter of fact. We just want to help them get better, and we can do that by working with all of the other opportunities in schools as well.
One of the things I've often heard from people who are big advocates of school choice is just what you were talking about, the fact that the more choice you have, it doesn't mean an attack on the public schools. It means another opportunity to force them to get better because they're competing for students.
Yeah, I just came from a private school here in Raleigh where I observed what they were doing there. And one of the things that really impressed me was one room that is devoted to purely character education, values, the values of respect, responsibility, maturity, discipline, character, the core values that all of us as parents and grandparents want for our children and our grandchildren. I thought, what a tremendous idea and what a difference it's making in that school and how these kids learn, how they respect one another, how it raises the bar, the safety element that's there. This is something that we can also take into other schools that do not do this to help them get better. And especially when this is what parents want. If there's one thing I learned about character, this is not a liberal conservative, it's not a Republican Democrat debate. And that's another thing that really encouraged me about this organization and the way that it reaches across the aisle and brings people together in a climate of political divisiveness as never been seen in our country. The school choice movement is one that brings people together, and it's because we are focusing on the needs of our children.
You're new to the job, so I suspect that one of your biggest challenges is learning about the organization, what it does, what it should do. But what do you see as some of the biggest challenges overall for school choice?
Well, I think for one, the argument of, well, you're taking dollars away from the public school system. Well, from what I've learned so far, no, we're not. There are so many dollars that go into public schools. It's just absolutely incredible. And I've seen North Carolina now take a lead in bringing teacher salaries back to a par of where they need to be nationally. I've seen them reducing class size, and I've seen them doing all kinds of things to help the traditional public schools with the funds that they offer. When you have 1.5 million of our children in the state in traditional public schools, and you have another million or so that are doing other things, that is significant. And we as leaders in government, we as educators, I think we need to listen to our customer base and what our customers are looking for and meet the needs of all of them. So no, we're not taking money away from public schools. We are adding to that customer base of support and letting them make the decision on what to do with those monies.
In the brief amount of time that we have left, what do you expect to see coming out of PEFNC in the next few weeks or months? What's going to be the top priority?
Well, the top priority will be to grow our parent liaison program, so that any parent who wants to look into these scholarship opportunities, they can go to pefnc.org and they can get with our parent liaisons that we currently have to walk them through that. I'd like to see that grow. I'd like to see one in every county of the state. And then on the other end, I would like to bring in a bipartisan, a full coalition of different school opportunities where we bring people from charter to homeschool to public school to private school to Christian schools, bring them together to form a coalition of accountability for all of our schools so that we know what really defines success, what really defines failure, what we can look at where schools are not working well and help them improve. That is one of my number one priorities as I come now into this organization.